In the twilight years of feudal Japan, when the clash of steel echoed through misty valleys, and honor meant more than life itself, there emerged a warrior whose legend would transcend time. His name was Miyamoto Musashi, and in over 60 duels spanning 3 decades, he never once tasted defeat.
Born in 1584 in the village of Miyamoto, young Musashi's childhood was marked by violence and abandonment. His mother died when he was barely 7, and his father, a skilled swordsman himself, left him to be raised by an uncle. But within this troubled boy burned a fire that would forge the greatest swordsman Japan would ever know. At 13, an age when most boys were still learning basic sword forms, Musashi fought his first duel. His opponent was Arima Kihei, a renowned samurai from the Shinto-ryu school. The experienced warrior laughed when he saw his challenger, a gangly teenager with wild eyes and a wooden sword. That laughter died in his throat moments later when Musashi struck him down with a single, devastating blow. The boy's technique was unrefined, almost brutish, but his instinct was pure and deadly. News of this unprecedented victory spread like wildfire through the provinces. By 16, Musashi had already killed several opponents and fought in the Battle of Sekigahara, one of the most significant conflicts in Japanese history. While thousands of samurai clashed in that blood-soaked field, young Musashi survived, observing, learning, understanding that warfare and dueling were two sides of the same brutal coin. After Sekigahara, Musashi began his Musha Shugyō, a warrior's pilgrimage to perfect his art. He wandered Japan as a Ronin, a masterless samurai, seeking out the finest swordsmen and challenging them to duels. Each victory added to his growing legend. His duels became legendary not just for their outcomes, but for their sheer audacity. Musashi often arrived late, disheveled, seemingly unprepared. Psychological warfare that unnerved opponents before the first strike. He experimented with techniques that horrified traditional schools. In 1604, at age 20, Musashi faced the Yoshioka school in Kyoto, the most prestigious sword school in Japan. In 3 successive duels, he systematically destroyed the school's reputation, defeating masters with wooden swords against their steel blades. The final confrontation with the Yoshioka school remains one of the most dramatic moments in samurai history. Dozens of armed men lay in ambush, determined to kill the Ronin who had humiliated their school. Musashi, anticipating treachery, arrived hours early and hid. When the ambush was sprung, he exploded from concealment, killed the young heir instantly, and fought his way through the stunned warriors, leaving a trail of dead and wounded before disappearing into the night. But Musashi's most famous duel came in 1612 against Sasaki Kojirō, a master swordsman renowned for his technique called swallow cut. Kojirō was everything Musashi appeared not to be: refined, technically perfect, respected by the establishment. The duel was arranged on Ganryū Island. Kojirō arrived on time, waiting with his legendary long sword ready. An hour passed, then another. Kojiro's composure began to crack, his anger building as the sun climbed higher. Finally, Musashi appeared, arriving by boat 3 hours late. As the boat approached shore, Kojirō could see his opponent wasn't even holding a sword. Instead, Musashi gripped a crude wooden weapon he'd carved from the boat's spare oar. Enraged beyond reason, Kojirō drew his magnificent blade and charged into the shallow water. The duel lasted seconds. Musashi's longer wooden sword struck Kojirō's head with devastating force. As Kojirō fell, he managed one final desperate cut that sliced through Musashi's headband. As Musashi stood over his fallen opponent, he experienced a profound transformation. Kojirō's death haunted him. Victory, he realized, was hollow without understanding. He was the greatest fighter in Japan, but what did that mean? Following this duel, Musashi never fought another death duel. Musashi turned inward, seeking to understand the principles that had made him invincible. He studied art, poetry, calligraphy, and philosophy. He crafted sculptures and painted masterpieces. In all these pursuits, he sought the same perfection he'd achieved with the sword. At 60, sensing his death approaching, Musashi retreated to a cave called Reigando. There, in solitude, he wrote The Book of Five Rings, a text on strategy, on philosophy, that would influence warriors and leaders for centuries. On May 19, 1645, Miyamoto Musashi died peacefully, having never lost a single duel. Today, more than 375 years after his death, his influence remains profound. His life teaches us that true mastery requires relentless dedication, constant innovation, and the courage to forge your own path.